Korean fellow filmmaker called Jang Jun-han. His first feature film, 2003, called Save the Green Planet. Recently, the Yorgos Lanthimos remake that movie called Bugonia. That the original one is Save the Green Planet. That is one of the most striking first feature film. And also the other one is Corpo Celeste by Alice Loruacher, the director of Happy as Rachel. Yeah, those two movies.
AI, I think, is very controversial in the way it's used. I think that's the main thing. That's more of a humanist question, a human question, than a technology question. Because it is a tool that exists, and that's definitely we cannot deny that we need to incorporate in our work. In Alpha, my latest film, we used it for CGI, and it really did help us a lot. However, I really believe that at no point should AI, take over human work and human interaction. I mean, I cannot have an artistic dialogue with AI. I can have an artistic dialogue with my CGI supervisor in the way we're going to use that tool. And I think that it should just remain a tool. And that, at no point it should, superate any kind of, human work, human interaction, human sensitivity.
I guess to summarize, because the question was directed to me, I think I have a very similar take to Celine. I think there is weirdly charm in the human condition, and also just like us as humans, we have a tendency to always, when you look back at our history, we just always take things too far, and I think it's very easy to be terrified. I know I am in times like this of deep uncertainty, and it kind of feels like we've opened up Pandora's box in a way. But we were talking about this a little bit yesterday as a group, getting ready to open the festival, about how in these, difficult times and confusing times, oftentimes it pushes the artist to speak out more, to do more, for there to be this new awakening and passion and protection, and I want to assume and hope that that is the case. But there's certain things that AI just isn't able to replicate. And yes, there's beautiful in difficulty, and there's beautiful in mistakes, and a computer can't do that. A computer has no soul, and it's nothing that we would ever be able to resonate with or relate to. And I think, I don't want to assume for the audience, but I would hope it gets to a point where it becomes sort of mental junk food, AI, and looking at this screen, and then suddenly we all feel sick and we don't know why, and then that one independent filmmaker in their backyard, maybe comes out with something, and it releases this new excitement again. I think sometimes, as terrible as it is to say, I think sometimes people need to be, our audiences need to be deprived of something in order to appreciate something again. So if we ever get to that point, I have faith in the artistic vision, and there's always something new and creative to inspire, whereas AI just replicates.
Can we do this? Can I take them to Bjad? Can I take them to my hometown? I'll tell you why. Because it has, or I can invite you later, but it's just because it's about space. And it is about things unseen. And it is about that aspect when you can grasp time, because it's old. People are very ordinary, and yet they're just immense. There is like a well that never dries of stories. And it's about the times where something, to me, that's where I learned cinema. And it was not watching films in my dad's movie theater. It was not my studies of cinema. It was not my studies of literature. It was just watching the people around me. And what you end up with is the invisible becomes visual for you, because you can see metaphors all around you. That's how I see it. And to me, because the food, I don't think they can eat better than what we're eating here. Although, I'll translate. Yeah, there's nothing like my mom's couscous on Friday. So the invitation is open. You should come.
AI is completely taking over what is beautifully difficult about human life, right? I think I agree with you. I think there are some parts of like AI technology that is a part of like catching noise in sound design or things like that are just kind of like actually being used as tools of that kind. The thing that I'm actually more worried about more than anything is the way that it is trying to encroach on what makes our lives very, very beautiful and very, very hard, and what makes living worth doing. I think the thing that's really hard is when they're like, well, wouldn't it be so much easier if we didn't actually learn how to paint, but we actually could just like tell somebody else to do it for us? And actually, people who will paint, we have to pay them, right? People who paint actually. And also, I think about this so much because I'm like, when I work with my DP, my cinematographer, it might be easy to think that it's like, well, like cinematography is just a lot of images. But the truth is that, well, I actually get to, by using, by working with my cinematographer, who's a human being, who's a grown man, with him, I think that I get to actually have his whole life.
First of all, I'd just like to say the film which inspired me long before was a movie by Abbas Kiarostami, Close Up. Still is one of my best films. Still I don't understand what he's doing in this film, and the reason that I love the film is that you cannot define the border of the reality and documentary and the drama and fiction and these things, and that's the beauty of movie making, which looks very real in performances, in everything else. So that is the film that I remember inspired me a lot. And if I want to choose a film, there are a lot, but I do go with Nuri Bilge Ceylan's first films, and Jafar Panahi first film, The White Balloon. I remember it. I would definitely ask to have it here.